everyone. Good evening. I am Amin Joyo, Research Associate in SZABIST Academy. We have a beautiful library named SZABIST Academy Library. We work under Social Sciences Department, SZABIST University. And today we are here in this session titled Why Enlightenment is a Major Problem in Pakistan. First of all, I would like to introduce our renowned guest speaker, Professor Dr. Monis Ahmad Sahab, who is meritorious professor in Department of International Relations and former Dean, Faculty of Social Sciences in University of Karachi. He has earned his PhD in 1992 from University of Karachi. The topic of his dissertation was European Security System in the post-Helsinki Accords period, a model for South Asia. He has written many books, done many things. His profile is so long. If I will talk in detail, then it will take several minutes. So without wasting any time, I would like to request our Vice President Academics and HR, Sir Imtiaz Qazi Sahab, to please come on the stage and welcome our honorable guest. Thank you.
Dr. Riaz Sheikh has the tendency to invite people to talk on those issues after which the speaker is not sure whether he would reach home alive or not. I am not an intellectual. I am a simple student. And therefore, if my talk is a bit incoherent and shallow, forgive me. Enlightenment, as we all know, means breaking away from archaic, antiquated traditions and moth-eaten dogmas and regressive policies. When you break away from them, that is enlightenment. And people say that it actually started in 18th century by French philosophers who gave this concept. And as we all know, French Revolution was the harbinger of all these things. We all know from little knowledge of history that Europe, after medieval ages, came to the age which is called the age of reason. And it is only when the reasoning started, when the people started asking why, how is the way humanity progressed. And from then onwards, as we all know, Europe progressed in leaps and bounds and is still far ahead of the rest of the world. The regression and the antiquated cultural norms can be social norms, can be cultural norms, and most important, religious regression is the one which holds the nations back. Social regression, cultural regulations, one manifestation is honor killing. What is honor in it? Killing a boy and a girl for marrying on their own accord is a beastly affair. There is no honor in it. In the same manner, in our country, talking of population planning is something which is religiously considered a taboo. What is taboo about it? We are sitting on a ticking time bomb with a huge population, and we can't talk about it. Religious regression is the worst regression. Take recently the case of girl in Lahore who was wearing this Arab, halwa written on her, this thing, and there was this mob of mad people who wanted to lynch her. There was a few years back, there was governor of Punjab, sitting governor of Punjab, who was gunned down by his guard because he had only said that blasphemy law is being abused by people, and he was gunned down. And on top of it, his guard who killed him became a big hero, and today his shrine is visited by many. This is the country, this is the mindset in which we are living today. I'll give you, Dr. Saab, I'll give you a personal example. 2 years, I have a secretary who is a Christian, and that girl happens to be a friend of my daughter. So when Christmas came, I went to a shop, a cake shop, and ordered a cake, and I asked them to write Merry Christmas, Sophie, from my daughter's name. And the shopkeeper simply refused. To my great amazement, I said, why? He said, we are not allowed. So what I did was, I went on the Facebook and I wrote the whole story. And there was a storm of indignation and abuses that people got, and it made me very happy. So the issue is how to get rid of this mindset. This is the point. And my understanding is, ज़्यादा तो आप enlighten कर सकेंगे हमें, but I think the government perhaps has to take the lead. The government has to make sure that our curriculum is such which enlightens us, which does not say that subcontinent's history started from Muhammad bin Qasim. No, that's not on. And we have then to, it's the job of the government to generate internal debate, internal what we call introspection, where we see amongst ourselves what is wrong with us. How do we improve ourselves? Many nations have fought with each other and have inflicted miseries upon each other. But at some stage, they apologized. They said, we are sorry for what we did. Can we apologize from Bangladesh today? Can we do that? We can't. Anyway, so Dr. Saab, thank you very much. We would listen to you, of course, and would learn a great deal from you. But thank you so much for being with us and sharing these thoughts with our youngsters. And it is for the youngsters to make sure that we get rid of this regressive and antiquated mindset.
Thank you very much, Qari Saab. So this was the brief and detailed introduction, and it was a scholarly introduction that Qari Saab did. Thank you very much. And now it's our practice and tradition that we start our programs with the why of Shah Latif Bhittai. So in this regard, I would like to request Sarang, who is Research Associate in SZABIST Academy, to come on the stage and recite the why of Sheikh Ayaz. Please welcome him.
ये वाई नहीं, गज़ल है अयाज का। रात आई वही तू न आए कही, माकमे में धरा का करूँ अंधी रही। रात आई वही तू न आए कही, महकमे में धिरा का करूं अंधी रही हो वञा मां वञा कीअं भेरो भञा ओ म्या हो वञा मां वञा कीअं भेरो भञा सिज वींदो लही पेर वींदा रही सिज वींदो लही पेर वींदा रही सांवरा तो सिवा छांवरा छा कबा ओ म्या सांवरा तो सिवा छांवरा छा कबा लोए तुंहिंजी लधी लूअ लॻंदी रही लोए तुंहिंजी लधी लूअ लॻंदी रही राति आई वई तूं न आए कही महकमे में धिरा का करूं अंधी रही सिर आज़ज ॾिनो कह न जातो त छो म्या सिर आज़ज ॾिनो कह न जातो त छो रत अॾीअ तां उॾियो सिंध ॾिसंदी रही रत अॾीअ तां उॾियो सिंध ॾिसंदी रही राति आई वई तूं न आए कही महकमे में धिरा का करूं अंधी रही महकमे में धिरा का करूं अंधी रही महकमे में धिरा का करूं अंधी रही।
Thank you very much, Sarang. I would like to translate a few verses that Sarang recites. It was a beautiful vibe from Sheikh Ayaz's poetry, best collection. The translation of first two verses is that my beloved had not returned. Oh, my Lord, my beloved had not returned. The night had passed away. The sun rise again early in the morning, but my beloved had not returned. So, thank you, Sarang. So, now I would like to request our distinguished guest, Dr. Munis Sahab, to please come on the stage and share his thoughts about today's topic. So, please welcome our renowned guest, Dr. Munis Ahmad Sahab.
Thank you very much. I am highly honored to be here, SZABIST. Dr. Riyaz Sheikh Sahab, he was kind enough to extend an invitation to deliver a lecture. And Qazi Sahab has, आपका पूरा नाम जो है? Imtiaz Qazi Sahab has, in his brief address, talked about enlightenment. Now, it reminds me, not enlightenment, but there are two things which are not related to what I will spell out or I will discuss today. In coming 25 minutes. The first is that this is my second visit to SZABIST. I first came here, that was in April 2020. I had an appointment with Dr. Javed Lagari, who at that time was the head of SZABIST, when SZABIST was formed. And then I was surprised that this place has mushroomed. There was only one building in 2020. And now I was told that there are 7 or 8 buildings, 9 buildings. The second thing which reminds me that today is 7th of March, right? So 7th of March, 2 things, when elections were held in Pakistan, National Assembly elections, March 7, 1977. The second thing is that on 7th of March, I gave a talk on Bangladesh and Pakistan from conflict to cooperation. That was on March 7th, the Department of International Relations, University of Dhaka, Bangladesh, where I was a visiting fellow, Asia fellow. And Dr. Imtiaz Ahmed, he was the chair of the department. So he said that you are giving a talk on March 7th, and we remember March 7th because in racecourse ground in Dhaka, Sheikh Mujib, he gave his address. Huge gathering. 500,000 people, million people were there. It was on March 7th. Now, coming back to the topic. The book which recently was released by the Routledge Press, UK, The Challenge of Enlightenment, Conflict Transformation and Peace in Pakistan, recently released by Routledge Press, Taylor and Francis. Its South Asian edition has been released on the occasion of International Book Fair in New Delhi, which was held in February. But unfortunately, the book is not available so far as this country is concerned, although you can order the book from Amazon.com or from the Routledge Press or whatever it is. When there will be some headway between the Routledge India and Liberty Books or whatever in Pakistan, then the copies, they will import copies of my book, and then it will be available here. Now, the topic, why enlightenment is a major challenge for Pakistan. The theme of my book, basically, I try to relate enlightenment, conflict transformation, and peace in Pakistan. The title reflects. But then today, I'll talk about 3 things. The first is about what is enlightenment as such. We have different conceptions about enlightenment. How it evolved, why it evolved, its implications. The second thing what is the problem as far as Pakistan is concerned? And not only Pakistan, the whole Muslim world, you name it. The culture of ignorance, retrogression, and then certainly how Muslim countries, most of the Muslim countries, I'm not trying to generalize, but certainly Pakistan is the second largest Muslim country, the 5th in terms of population, which was pointed out by Qazi Sahib. What is the problem here? That why in the last 76 years, we have not been able, number one, to settle down as a nation state. Second, to establish a culture which is or which doesn't reflect social backwardness, ignorance. As Immanuel Kant, a very famous Prussian philosopher, He basically argued that enlightenment is against immaturity, is against ignorance, is against a retrogressive mindset. Mindset is very important. The third thing, is there a way out for this country to effectively deal with some of the major challenges which we are facing? It starts from intolerance, and then from intolerance to extremism, from extremism to violence, radicalization of youth, and then terrorism. So when the culture of Pakistan, which is still, whether we agree or not, whether we like it or not, we have to be pragmatic, we have to be realistic or rational in our thinking, that Pakistan is still a feudal state. Still. The mindset, authoritarian mindset. Now, when we talk about enlightenment, it's very simple. Basically, Ferdinand Schivel's book, which we read long time back, almost 40 years ago, while studying European history, a history of modern Europe, in which there was a chapter on enlightenment, the age of reasoning, 17th century Europe. The time when Europe was after 1492, when Columbus discovered America. The process of reformation, geographical discoveries, the process of Renaissance, geographical discoveries, reformation, counter-reformation, and then colonization, imperialism, industrial revolution. 500 years of the process, starting from the age of reasoning. At that time, the Muslim countries, or the Muslim empires, so-called Muslim empires, Ottoman Empire, Mughal Empire, you name it, they were not interested, neither in research, nor in discovery, or pursuing an approach which can open the minds of people, or the process of research in the Muslim world. They had closed, they had not even allowed printing press. The Ottoman Empire refused. So at the time when Europe was coming up, the Muslim empires were going down, which culminated into the age of colonization and imperialism. Some of the things which basically triggered enlightenment in Europe and also in other societies, unleashing the process of innovation, discovery, moderation, reasoning, critical thinking, individualism. It's my life. You have no right to interfere in my affairs. Whether I follow this religion or this culture or that culture, it's none of your business. Individualism. Modernization. And then suddenly, the problem is basically that in our part of the world, modernization is equated with westernization. कि मगरब जो है उसको आप फॉलो कर रहे हैं, तो वो जदीदियत है, मॉडर्नाइजेशन है. Now, so therefore enlightenment emerged as a movement in Europe at that time. 17th century, 18th century, 19th century, 500 years of the process. And then who can forget geographical discoveries? That the European, empires which emerged, French Empire, British Empire, Spanish Empire, Portuguese Empire, Dutch Empire, British Empire, later on German Empire, Italian Empire. These empires basically, they were able to establish their control. Almost the whole of Africa, most of the parts of Asia, Latin America. So therefore, we also became a British colony or a European colony. Now, let me move on to Pakistan. What is the problem here? Having discussed briefly about enlightenment, we cannot replicate what was going on in Europe or what Europe is today or the West is today. They have their own issues, they have their own problems. The culture of populism in the West is a major threat as far as enlightenment is concerned. I'm not talking about Donald Trump or the Golden Dawn in Greece or in France, the nationalist party over there, or AFD in Germany. That's a threat. But in case of Pakistan, which is the world's 5th largest country in terms of population, the only nuclear state in the Muslim world, but still we have not been able to settle some of the issues. We are still grappling with whether the country should be democratic, whether the country should be Islamic, whether the country should be follow this mode of governance or that mode of governance. And the reason is basically that since the beginning, you name it, I'm not questioning the two-nation theory. I'm not talking about as far as the role of religion is concerned, because that's a personal matter. But what I'm saying is primarily that since the beginning, the state of Pakistan was hijacked. Like Islam was hijacked during the medieval era, because Islam being the most enlightened religion at that time, which was narrated by Barack Obama when he addressed the students of Cairo University in 2009. That the Islamic principles, the enlightened principles, women were given equal rights or whatever rights. And then during those days, how that religion was hijacked. And the very notion, the concept of ijtihad, that you have to think, you have to, rationalize, that was gone. And this religion was hijacked by the clergy, nothing to do with the realities. So that basically degenerated not only the religion, but also as far as Pakistan is concerned. So what is the issue? The issue is primarily that what I have gathered after several years of observation and studies, that we have not been able to become a knowledge-friendly society. It's not a rhetoric, it's a reality. It's not a knowledge-friendly society. Reference was given to Mumtaz Qadri, who gunned down his boss, the governor of Punjab. I would like to refer to Mashal Khan, a young student at Abdul Wali University, April 2017. How he was lynched, all in the name of religion. So the reason is basically that it's not a knowledge-friendly society. Ignorance, and then the culture which exists, the culture is socially backward. And I think the elites, whether you have the elites political elites, military elites, bureaucratic elites, other elites. They are part of the problem than part of the solution. They have not been able to give due emphasis as far as proper education is concerned. There cannot be enlightenment in Pakistan. A major challenge for Pakistan is the lack of purposeful, useful, thoughtful education, which can open the minds of people. I'm not talking about SZABIST or LUMS or IBA or GIK or other, private or whatever, universities or the A levels and O levels. What about 25 million children of Pakistan who are out of school? So the elites of Pakistan, the majority of, the bulk of that elite is the bureaucratic elite and the military elite, the political elite, even the religious elite, the nexus between. How that nexus has worked at the expense of the people of Pakistan. To keep people of Pakistan backward, socially backward, politically backward, culturally backward. Look at the conditions of state-owned schools, colleges and universities. If you go there, if you have the experience. I have taught over there for decades and decades. So that culture has basically created a class. And that class, which is called per se as a privileged class, is not ready to relinquish its control over power. Now, couple of things when you talk about the educational system, which is a major requirement for an enlightened culture. Enlightened culture is a culture where reasoning, rationality, science, research, reading, these things are, or such things matter. Doubt, the culture of doubt. Look at the government, state-owned schools, madrasas. Don't forget that. How madrasas, they are being run by the clergy. And the opportunity which they should have utilized by inducting or inculcating knowledge about the world, about everything, they are not doing their job. So primarily it's a situation in which I think 250 million people of Pakistan, they are bogged down, and that has led to frustration, anger, antagonism as far as the youth is concerned. The youth bulge of Pakistan, 60% like you people. What is the future of youth? Unless they are provided with the opportunities of better education, better employment opportunities, and it is the job of a state. A state has been collecting taxes, all sorts of taxes. It's not only income tax. We pay tax on every item. They increase the prices of petrol, gas, electricity every month, every week, or after 2 months. And there is no control over prices. So what I'm saying is that there is no comparison. There is no as such comparison per se as far as the West is concerned or Pakistan is concerned. But the fact is basically that there are 6 main pillars of enlightenment, which this country badly needs. First is reasoning, how reasoning helps people. A mindset which is not devoid of reasoning. You have to argue, you have to give the reasons. If an incident took place in Ichara, Lahore, where a lady was harassed because she was wearing a dress, Arabic dress, and the mob was about to lynch her, and she was rescued. There are, hundreds and hundreds of incidents every day in this country, reported, unreported. So the lack of reasoning, someone has asked, it's a very good topic of research to interview people who were after that lady. Why you want to attack her? No answer, no plausible, reasonable answer, nothing. Just emotionalism. Second is pursuit of knowledge. Because knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your time. Time is money. Knowledge is power. The more knowledgeable you are, and it's not only information, but how information is transformed as knowledge. The third thing is science. It is said that religion and science cannot be compatible. That may not be true. Science basically is based on reasons. You have to rationalize it. Is 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. Logic. How logic matters. Doubt. We don't doubt. We accept things as they are. We don't accept. We don't accept why they are, why and how. You know that how the European culture of enlightenment, Immanuel Kant, he basically talked about, Rousseau talked about, Voltaire talks about. How that culture changed the lives of people, because Europe during the medieval era was backward. How the process of Renaissance, rebirth of civilization, the age of reasoning, you have to doubt. Why is it so? How is it so? Which is not to be seen over here in this part of the world. You don't see that. If a person is asking a question, not here, maybe somewhere else, it's not endorsed. Is an offense. That is the majority of the people of Pakistan. How it will change? We know it should change. And then, as I said earlier, individualism. It's my life. मगर हमारे यहाँ तो ये होता है कि दूसरे के मामलात में दखल अंदाजी करो. वो क्यों? वो देखें, स्मॉल माइंड्स थिंक अबाउट पीपल. स्मॉल माइंड्स, गॉसिपिंग, इस तरह की बात है. एवरेज माइंड्स टॉक अबाउट इवेंट्स. ये हो रहा है, वो हो रहा है, इवेंट्स. एंड ग्रेट माइंड्स talk about ideas. Our culture is such which negate. So basically, innovation is not very simple. Look at Bangladesh. I'm not saying that Bangladesh is an enlightened society, although they are better. I was there for a year, and you will not imagine. Because I was staying at Dhaka University's, there's a place called as Teacher-Student Center. So they have guest rooms. So I was staying there. I was there for a year. Friday is a holiday. today, these days also in Bangladesh. It's not holiday in Pakistan. In Bangladesh, it's a holiday. So the auditorium of the Teacher Student Center was having a program, a musical program on Friday, Jummah prayers. And then couple of, half a kilometer, less than half a kilometer, there was a mosque. So people were going to the mosque. जिनका दिल चाह रहा था वो बसे जा रहे हैं, जिनकी था इबादत पे, और जो लोग उसमें थे ऑडिटोरियम में वो वहाँ थे. There was no interference, tolerance. It's not what Musharraf talked about, enlightened moderation. He talked about enlightened moderation, but basically based on rhetoric. So Bangladesh, a country where I'll give you an example. I don't think that that country would have progressed had it remained part of Pakistan. क्योंकि वो बगरही पाकिस्तान जो है वो उनका इस्तेसाल करता रहता और उनकी पिटाई हो रही होती, उनके ऊपर तशद्दुद हो रहा होता. But then, when I talk about innovation, how innovative they are, that Bangladesh doesn't produce cotton. बांग्लादेश में कपास पैदा नहीं होती, ये बहुत कम होती है, doesn't. But they export $40 billion worth of garments. They import $500 million of cotton, whatever, bales or whatever, from here and there, from Pakistan, from Egypt, from Kazakh, from Uzbekistan and elsewhere, and process it in the form of garments. I have been to a garment factory in Dhaka. There are 2,000 garment factories in Dhaka. The women empowerment that has given them an opportunity. So that's innovation. That even if you are not producing cotton, you import cotton since you have these skills, or you have the women power or the men power, whatever you have. You establish garment factories and then you export. 40 billion, or garment exports are less than $10 billion. And Pakistan is a cotton growing country. I'm not saying that we are not innovative people, but we are very innovative. We are very innovative in terms of corruption, in terms of nepotism, in terms of, all such things. That's negative innovation. There is no positive innovation. Innovation basically here, that how my interest can be served, not the interest of the country. Anyway, that's another topic. There were, in my book, which I basically mentioned, I raised 6 research questions. First, how can a process of cultural enlightenment help the positive transformation of conflicts? Cultural enlightenment, when the culture changes, when our DNA change. I don't know how long it will take for DNA to change, or whether we would remain retrogressive, backward, ignorant, or intolerant extremist, and पूरी दुनिया में बदनाम जो है पाकिस्तान को कर दिया है इन्हीं लोगों ने. How can a process of cultural enlightenment help the positive transformation of conflicts by reducing the threats of intolerance, extremism, radicalization, violence, and terrorism in Pakistan? The more a society is enlightened, broad-minded, innovative, educated, secular, it can never ever be part of extremism or intolerance or violence or terrorism. It will not be. Because it is utilizing its time in productive ways. Second question, which I raised in my book, how and why enlightenment, conflict transformation and peace are a major challenge to Pakistani society and state, and how it can be successfully dealt with. A major challenge, absolutely. Because the state of Pakistan, whatever the state of Pakistan is, there's a gap between the society and the state. Absolutely. And that gap is widening. State of Pakistan, the state actors, they are primarily living in their comfort zones. They don't know. I was seeing a video about Ranchod line in Karachi. There's a place in Karachi, Ranchod line. And the video basically reflected. उसने पूछा कि क्या ये कराची का हिस्सा है? जो सड़कें थीं, जो गलियां थीं, बिल्कुल ख़त्म. मतलब inundated with sewage water, broken roads. And then it was asked, whosoever is the MNA, MPA, mayor or a councillor never had the courage. उसको दिलचस्पी कोई interest to visit his or her locality, because they don't go beyond their comfort zones. They are living in their comfort zones. Third, why and how modernization is equated with westernization by the conservative and some modern segments of Pakistani society. कि modernization जो है, that is Maghrabiyat. I give you my own example. I'm not trying to generalize. Please, I want to be very clear. Dubai, Abu Dhabi airport, you know, when you travel from the west or whatever, so you have, even if you go to Nepal, you want to go to Nepal, you have to go to Dubai or Abu Dhabi because there are no direct flights. If you want to go to Dhaka or Delhi, there are no direct flights from Pakistan to. So in Abu Dhabi, in Doha, yes, Qatar, in Doha airport, there was the Qatar airline, coming to Karachi. So there was the announcement for the boarding or whatever. A queue had to be formed, जो line होती है. So there were a couple of people who were not following the line. So one gentleman, he got angry, he said, और मैंने भी कहा कि आप लाइन तो लगाएं. तो उस पर एक साहिबा थी, वो कहने लगी कि क्या हम कोई अंग्रेज़ हैं कि लाइन लगाएं? हम कोई अंग्रेज़ हैं कि लाइन लगाएं? Look at the mindset. क्यों जो है वो एक रिक्वायरमेंट है, it reflects that you are a civilized, follow civilized way of life. वो westernized हो गया. Fourth question, why is cultural enlightenment perceived as a threat to extremist religious groups? There is a nexus between state and extremist religious groups. Absolutely. What about Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan? What about Tehreek-e-Labbaik? What about Jaish-e-Mohammed? What about other, such groups, and getting support from as far as the state is concerned? Because the state has been state has been creating a monster. और जब वो monster बन गया, तो आप you basically try to launch a crackdown against that monster. Ehsanullah Ehsan, Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, banned. He was arrested, and then he was allowed to escape to Turkey. Who helped? He was in jail even then. How the concept of moderate Islam can help neutralize the forces adhering to the phenomena of militant Islam in Pakistan. Till the time religion is hijacked by a segment of clergy which wants to manipulate and monopolize religion, Pakistan can never ever become a moderate Islamic state. No, it's not possible. Final question was, what are the major impediments in Pakistan to establish a culture of enlightenment, and how these could be removed? I think we are all responsible. We are all responsible. And I have failed to understand that 10 million Pakistanis are out of their country. 1 crore Pakistani bahar hai. Maybe more. They have been traveling, coming and going from the West and elsewhere. But why they are not able to bring any change? social change? Why they are not investing their resources as far as better education is concerned to improve the quality of life of people? So to sum up, I think we have a long way to go. बहुत लंबा सफर है, लॉन्ग वे टू गो. देयर इज, इस मुल्क में किसी चीज़ की कमी नहीं है. वी हैव रिसोर्सेज, आई मीन वी हैव हार्ड वर्किंग पीपल, वी हैव पीपल हु आर एनर्जेटिक, एनर्जी, बट इट इज़ द रॉन्ग हैंड्स, गलत हाथों में है वो. द लीडरशिप, till the time the leadership is not interested, whosoever that leadership is, until the time that leadership pulls the strings from behind, pulls the strings, we cannot expect any social change in this country. So there are some of the requirements as far as the challenge of enlightenment is concerned. The first is the political will, कि जज्बा जब तक ना हो. Second is determination, that we are determined. Third is clarity. How clear we are, we should not be confused. We are confused in most cases. Positive mindset. Positive mindset which tries to think positively. Process of early social learning, which is basically, it starts from the kindergarten and from the schools. All the children of Pakistan, this thing will automatically be resolved in coming 20-25 years. It will take 25 years, although we don't have time. 25 years for this country to get better. That free and compulsory good quality education to all the children of Pakistan from primary till high school. That is the responsibility of the state. From primary till high school. That there has to be an investment. And then you will see the results after 20 years, which will change the DNA. Of course, a quality education will not teach ignorance, will not teach orthodoxy, will not teach corruption, nepotism, adhering to the rule of law. Civic sense, basic education. That is how Japan and Germany, these two countries, were destroyed during Second World War. How there are many other examples that they were able to get over. And then, of course, creative and an innovative thinking. Creative and innovative thinking cannot evolve without an effort. The culture of reading. Now, during our days, when we were studying in universities, before you were born, in most cases, except Dr. Riyaz Sheikh, Qazi Sahab, or maybe, yes. Imagine that we used to go to, there was no mobile, there was no online, nothing. We used to go to British Council, American Center, Liaquat Memorial Library, University of Karachi Library, Library of the Institute of International Affairs. 5 libraries, kitabein padhna, magazines, journals. That is how, not just depending on, as far as the mobile is concerned, it will not. It will not. I don't think what is required is one should revert back to that mode of education and learning and reading. How many of us read daily newspapers? How many of us? Hard copy, not online, hard copy. It's very expensive these days, because during our times, the cost of dawn was hardly 10 rupees. No, 50, weekend. Now, so basically, clarity is very important. If clarity can be inducted, and then perceptive and visionary leadership. Again, it comes down to leadership. कि कौन लोग हैं? But they are not interested. They have restricted themselves to their comfort zones. They don't know what is going on with the majority of the people. And then an enlightened approach to deal with issues. Tolerance, moderation, innovation. And the culture of non-conformism. I am not a conformist. How many of us are conformists? Everyone, the focus is basically to force the younger generation to be conformist. यानी वो हाँ में हाँ मिलाए. No. It's suicidal. Non-conformist. Because I will basically develop my approach, my thinking on the basis of what I think is right and what is wrong. The distinction between right and wrong. So there is no shortcut as far as to deal with the challenge of enlightenment in Pakistan. Lack of enlightenment. I think the topic should have been, I should have suggested, the challenge of lack of enlightenment. It's not enlightenment, it's lack of enlightenment. I asked, I'm not saying that dress or behavior or such things reflect the social, setup of people. But why is it so that in the 70s, when I took admission in 1976 in honors school at the University of Karachi, the dress code was different. At that time, in my own class or in the university, there were hardly one or two or maybe four covering, from top to bottom, or covering the half or just the head. Less than 5%. Till 80s, it changed in 90s. So I asked, 15 years ago, I asked one of my students, I said that, why you are, it's your personal, please forgive me, it's your personal matter, why you people, the majority of you are, या आप लोग ऊपर से लेकर नीचे तक जो हैं, वो अबाया जो है वो आप पहने हुए हैं. Very interesting, reasons. First, we are coming from localities, हम उन इलाकों से आ रहे हैं जहाँ पे हमें पहनना पड़ता है. उन इलाकों से आ रहे हैं. Because Karachi University used to get the cream once upon a time. Once upon a time. अब तो प्राइवेट स्कूल यूनिवर्सिटीज खुल गई हैं बाकी. The second reason कि to protect ourselves from dust. तो मैंने कहा कि डस्ट तो उस वक्त भी होती थी, बल्कि ज़्यादा होती थी, गर्द तो ज़्यादा उड़ती थी उस वक्त. Third thing, reason was because we travel in public transport. So we are forced to. That is something which is very unfortunate. Very unfortunate. Even in case of boys, you can see, इसीलिए मैं कह रहा हूँ कि यहाँ पे वो पता नहीं चलता, बट टिल द टाइम अनलेस यू गो टू पंजाब यूनिवर्सिटी, you go to Karachi University, you go to Sindh University, you go to Balochistan, Peshawar University, you will see state-owned universities. To sum up, I think finally, it's a debate about enlightenment which will continue. But if someone wants to suppress the truth, कि सच को छुपाओ, सच को जो है दबाओ, it will push Pakistan further into the web of backwardness, orthodoxy. It will not help the country. It will not help this country. And this culture of extremism, which is contrary to enlightenment, has a popular support. A segment of people, they support extremist groups. As was referred, that Mumtaz Qadri, he became a hero, and the shrine and, things like that. And those who lynched Mashal Khan, they were also praised. So, jab tak ke, unless, this is the bottom line, unless state and church, state and religion are separated. मज़हब को और रियासत को अलग करना पड़ेगा. Till the time religion is misused for personal reasons, personal benefits, to settle personal scores, कि किसी के खिलाफ कुछ करना है तो ब्लास्फेमी का कर दो, उसको कादियानी कह दो, उसको जो है ये कह दो, वो कह दो. I mean, this is the thing which will derail, degenerate this country more. जब तक कि मज़हब और रियासत जो हैं अलग अलग नहीं होंगे, that state must not interfere in religious matters. और ये मैंने अपनी पिछली किताब में लिखा था, Conflict Management and Vision for a Secular Pakistan, which was published by Oxford University Press, in which I said that there has to be legislation in the parliament to prevent the misuse of mosques. कि जिसके हाथ में जो है वो माइक आ जाए, वो जो भी है, जुमे के खुतबे में क्या होता है, मैंने खुद सुना है, 50% जो होता है वो होता है कि ख़वातीन जो हैं, औरतें जो हैं, उनको घरों में रहना चाहिए, उनको जो है बाहर नहीं, उनका काम जो है वो तालीम हासिल, ये मूसीक़ी के ख़िलाफ़, अगेंस्ट म्यूज़िक, अगेंस्ट वुमेन, ये सारी चीज़ें इन खुतबों में होती हैं, जो कि बैंड है और मुस्लिम कंट्रीज़ में बैंड है, आप नहीं कर सकते ये, यहाँ पे कोई है. तो रियासत का काम जो है, स्टेट मस्ट डू समथिंग बिफोर द स्टेट कोलैप्सेस, बिफोर देयर इज द erosion. There are 3 types of states, and I will end now. One is fragile state, a state which is weak, fragile. The second is a failing state, जो कि नाकाम हो रहा है, means it is not able to provide basic, safety and security and well-being to its people. And the third is the failed state. We cannot afford to be, because of the fact that it's not a country of only 10 million people like Sweden, or 5 million people like Finland, or 25 million people like Australia or Canada, 25-30 million people. 250 million people who are holed up a territory on the east. The only neighbor of Pakistan, the eastern neighbor, is India. And India's only western neighbor is Pakistan. You cannot go there. It's not possible. Afghanistan, out of question. Iran के साथ ताल्लुकात खराब. So therefore, it has led to frustration, anger, and by the way, I'll just stop that in last 2 years, 2 million Pakistanis have left this country. 2 million. To the extent that the passport office, centralized, has not been able to deliver passports on time. उस पर एक लेटर भी था डॉन में, लेटर टू द एडिटर पासपोर्ट के बारे में. 2 महीने 3 महीने हो गए. द रीज़न बेसिकली दैट द प्रेशर एप्लीकेशंस एंड देव इंक्रीज द फी ऑल्सो. द पासपोर्ट फी बढ़ा दी उन्होंने. everyone wants to go out, everyone wants to go out, everyone wants to go out. This is sign of disaster. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. He was Dr. Monis Ahmad, who shared his thoughts about the topic. But as per my understanding, the lecture was eye-opening. He clearly described the real fact of Pakistani society. Now the session is not over. I would like to request our students and individuals to please ask some questions from our speaker. The questions should be according and as per the topic and specific. We will encourage you peoples. Sir, please wait. This is the book that Dr. Saab have written, and you can purchase this book from here. And now, one by one, please ask short questions from our speaker.
अगर हम रिलीजियस फैक्टर को इन्वॉल्व करें तो इन तीनों में से मोस्ट जो कॉमन फैक्टर है कौन सा है? पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज़ हमारे यहाँ तो आप देख रहे हैं वो भी फ्रेजाइल हैं, उनका भी कुछ पता नहीं चलता. और स्टेट तो है, बेसिकली स्टेट जो है वो इज़ रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर एवरी मैटर. लेकिन यहाँ पे जो क्वेश्चन है एनलाइटमेंट जो मेजर चैलेंजेस, तो क्या सिर्फ यही मेजर चैलेंज ऑफ पाकिस्तान सोसाइटी का है या और भी इसके अलावा कोई मेजर चैलेंजेस है हमारे यहाँ?
ठीक है, मेरे ख्याल में इसमें जो सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज है, जो यहाँ का सोशल स्ट्रक्चर है पाकिस्तान का, जो मोस्ट ऑफ द केसेस जो समाजी निज़ाम है, वो एक बहुत बड़ा चैलेंज है, बहुत बड़ा मसला है कि जब तक वो समाजी निज़ाम जो है वो रोशन ख्याल नहीं होगा, रोशन ख्याल नहीं होगा, जब तक वो समाजी निज़ाम में जो तरजीह है वो जिसको हम लोग कहते हैं तज्ज़ियाती सोच, तनक़ीदी सोच, तज्ज़ियाती सोच और तनक़ीदी सोच, उसको आगे बढ़ाना शुरू से लेके ये नहीं कि स्नब कर देना, उसको आगे बढ़ाना, उस सोच को. फिर इसके अलावा जो माहौल है वो भी ज़रूरी है. माहौल कैसा है, घर का माहौल कैसा है, जो मोहल्ला है उसका माहौल क्या है. An empty mind is a devil's paradise, है ना. अच्छी तालीम और उसके साथ जो वक्त है, जो टाइम है, उसको पॉजिटिव उसमें उसका इस्तेमाल करना. अगर किसी के पास कोई जॉब है, पार्ट टाइम जॉब है, और फिर मुताले की आदत, मुताला, आप शेख साहब को पता होगा, देखा होगा, उन्होंने ऑब्जर्व किया होगा कि वेस्ट में अब मालूम नहीं जब से मोबाइल का शुरू हुआ है कि जो फ्री टाइम होता है ट्रैवल में या वैसे, लोग या तो अखबार पढ़े होंगे या रिसाला पढ़े होंगे या किताब पढ़े होंगे या डाइजेस्ट पढ़े होंगे। यहाँ पे आपको वो चीज़ें जो हैं वो बहुत कम नज़र आती हैं, होंगी। तो इसलिए जो समाजी निज़ाम, पाकिस्तान का समाजी निज़ाम, और ख़ास तौर पे जो कहते हैं तबक़ाती निज़ाम, लोअर क्लास, लोअर मिडिल क्लास, अपर मिडिल क्लास, अपर क्लास, उससे ऊपर एलिटिस्ट क्लास, ये क्या है? व्हाट इज़ दिस? हम लोगों ने अपने समाजी निज़ाम को बिल्कुल ही, और उससे फिर जो नौजवान हैं, ज़ाहिर है कि प्रोफेसर अब्दुल सलाम जो नोबेल लॉरिएट थे, वो झंग के किसी गांव में पैदा हुए थे। जो स्ट्रीट लाइट होती थी उसका रोशनी, उसमें वो पढ़ते थे, बट ही वॉज अ जीनियस। कहाँ से कहाँ, जैसे ही उनको गवर्नमेंट कॉलेज लाहौर में दाखिला मिला और उसके बाद से उनको बाहर की स्कॉलरशिप मिली, तो हमारे यहाँ भी इस तरह के बहुत सारे हैं। वी हैव टू, हमें इस तरह का माहौल पैदा करना चाहिए कि जिसमें मेरिट जो है, एहलियत जो है, वो एक क्राइटेरिया हो, ना कि पर्सनल लाइक्स एंड डिसलाइक्स। जब तक वो चीज़ नहीं होगी उस वक्त तक तरक्की नहीं हो सकती। ह्यूमन डेवलपमेंट, सोशल डेवलपमेंट, और ये कहा जाता है कि माइक कोई नहीं छोड़ता, कुर्सी कोई नहीं छोड़ता, माइक कोई नहीं छोड़ता, everyone wants to be on chair, everyone wants to be, कि वो माइक हाथ में लेके, चाहे आप ऑक्सफोर्ड में आप देख लें क्या, मैंने तो देखना छोड़ दिया।
Thank you, Dr. Saab. Thank you very much for your remarks and a brief answer. Now I would like to request Imtiaz Qazi Saab, who is our Vice President Academics and Admin. Please come on the stage and conclude this session along with a word of thanks. Thank you.
You know, it's not every day that you sit across scholarly people, and it's always a pleasure to listen to them, to listen to their thoughts and learn from them. There are people who have likes and dislikes. A large number of people have likes for the scholars, and when they sit with them, they enjoy their company. Dr. Saab, we are very, very thankful to you. And it was a pleasure being with you, and we hope that you will keep coming to us again and again. Khuda Hafiz.
Thank you very much. I thank you all on behalf of SZABIST Academy Social Sciences Department, SZABIST University. Now I request our honorable guests to please have a cup of tea with us downstairs. Please, Sarang, lead them. Thank you very much. Thank you.